everybody. This episode of The Ride to the Rink is brought to you by our title sponsor, NHL Sense Arena. And a lot of you know what that is. It's a virtual reality training game that brings the rink into your home and allows you to take off-ice training literally to a new reality. Now, look, you guys know this if you listen to this show. We know you're working on your physical skill sets, your toe drags, your shots, your passing, your skating. This allows you to work on your mental skill sets, your hockey IQ, which we say to you all the time is one of the most underdeveloped aspects of youth hockey players. NHL Sense Arena, with their 100-plus drills, their training plans from top coaches, all USA Hockey approved for players and goalies, is going to give you that edge that you need off the ice that you can train so you can bring it to the ice. Again, as coaches, we don't always have the time to work on some of these drills that NHL Sense Arena has made available in our team practices. And unless you have a private instructor, this is a great alternative for you to do that. So listen, you're going to have to go to your parents. We're probably listening to this with you, but we're giving $50 off an annual plan when you use our code HOCKEYNEVERSTOPS at checkout. And again, you're going to need their permission to do this, and we want you to ask them. You can tell them to listen to this if they're not already. Go to hockey.sensearena.com and use the code HOCKEYNEVERSTOPS. You and your family can save $50 off on an annual plan for NHL Sense Arena. And again, we know that instruction can be expensive. Ice time is expensive. When you do this for less than $30 a month, you're going to get a whole new way to practice and earn that time in your house from you and your families so you can enjoy the game. So this is Lee. We're diving into the Ride to the Rink right now. Enjoy this episode, and remember to check out Sense Arena and use Hockey Never Stops at checkout for your $50 off. Take care. Hello, hockey skaters and goalies around the world, and welcome to another edition of The Ride to the Rink, powered by NHL Sense Arena. Make sure you head over to hockey.sensearena.com for your $50 discount on Sense Arena subscriptions using the code HOCKEYNEVERSTOPS. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but today we want to talk about something that's really important. We know when you're hearing this, it's the time of year, the weather is about to change. It's about to get nicer outside. The sunshine is going to pour in through the windows. The snow will melt. The spring will come. And inevitably, you're going to want to get outside. You're going to want to play baseball. You're going to play lacrosse, soccer, whatever sport it is that you play outside. Heck, you might want to just go outside because you've been in a rink and you've been in your house all winter. And we're here to tell you a few things. Number one, we want you to go outside. We want you to play other sports. We want you to enjoy that. But we also want to remind you as coaches, and this is something that can be hard to realize or be conscious of this time of year, that if you made a commitment to your hockey team, you have to finish that commitment, right? And you have to stay focused when you are at the rink. You have to stay focused when you are with your team and just see it through to the end. And again, I'm going to pass the puck over to Mike Benelli here, who's got some really great thoughts on this, both from the coaching aspect, but also keeping in mind what this part of the season can mean for you. Mike Benelli, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and again, it's not just snow, right? I mean, if you're in Arizona or Florida or you know the nice weather states that have these great hockey programs where you're walking into practice with flip flops,
Mike, it's all snow here where I'm at.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's like so there's no. I see a little bit of grass every now and then popping through, but I think that's just if somebody stepped on the snow with a good big boot. But I think if it's we're in a place as coaches, both sport coaches, right? Your kid, most of our hockey players are multi-sport athletes. And that's what we love about hockey. I mean, hockey is inherently a sport where you're going to get better if you play more sports. So if we're going to abide by that, and we as coaches are going to agree that we need to have that, both the spring coaches and the in-season coaches need to understand that and respect the fact that a player is committed to a team. Most of our teams that go through, if you're a really successful team, you're going through mid-March. If you're getting to the end of your season, you're still playing until the beginning of March, and you're in a place where indoor batting practice is starting, indoor wall ball is starting. All these other sports are asking you to start working out, and you have to remember that whether you're winning every game right now or you're struggling, that you're laying the foundation for next year. So if I have a coach and sees a player is quitting on me in January, it's going to be really hard for me to accept that player again in April tryouts, knowing I can't even get this player through a season. And I think that really you start building up a reputation of that, right? So if you're on a team, you make that commitment, be there with your teammates, work on the fact that when you get to the rink, you're going to focus on the sport that you're in. The weather gets nice and the sun is out and it looks like a great day to go out and train in another sport. great, do it. Go play, put in your 15, 20 minutes of wall ball or get in the batting cage. It's still going to help your hockey, but don't give up in your hockey season. Don't give up on your teammates. And more importantly, start setting the foundation for where you want to be when the new season starts.
Right. And here's the thing. Hockey season's long, right? But all you guys have been working, and women and girls have been working all season long to develop the skills. And you're now at the point where you're playing better, you're passing better, your chemistry is really good. You worked really hard to get to this point. So don't give up now. You want to finish strong because now everything's gelling. You give up now, you're not going to see the rewards of all that hard work that you've been putting in for months and weeks. The sun is shining. It's beautiful outside. You know what my kids would do? They'd set up the net in the driveway. So instead of going to the rink, we would do our little practice right there in the driveway, and they would work on their skills. They put on their rollerblades, and they'd work outside and enjoy the sunshine and still not lose their skills and never give up on your team. It's really important, especially now. This is the time when it's really fun because you've got the skills. You've been working all year for this moment. So you got to put in, you're almost at the finish line. You got to cross that finish line. I know it can be tough, but it's going to be worth it.
Christie, I love the way you put that. I don't want to go get my rollerblades on and go outside, but it is still a little bit too cold for that.
Our coaches too sometimes would just bring the drills outside. Hey, instead of running around the rink, we're going to go outside in the parking lot. It's all clear. It's safe. We're going to do a couple laps in the parking lot, just get some fresh air, change the scenery.
Right.
You can do some stuff outside, kick, a couple of soccer balls around in the parking lot. Just mix it up a little bit so you don't feel like you're confined in the rink 24/7 when the weather gets a little nicer. So.
And I can tell you, Christie, that when the weather does get nicer, I look as a coach for opportunities to get my kids outside. I want to go outside and do team building outside because first off, a little vitamin D never hurt anybody. And the other thing too is it's just a change of scenery. In the winter, we forget we're kind of stuck in our homes in the rinks or the car for half the year in some places. So for the kids listening, this is what I want you to take away from the episode, aside from all this great stuff that Mike and Christie said, is that awareness of maybe you might feel a little burnt out, and that's okay. Or maybe you want to get outside. It's okay, but be aware of how that might affect your behavior in the rink or outside of the rink. And just know you made a commitment. You got to finalize that commitment. Mike makes a great point. Evaluations do come up at the end of the season. Coaches notice a lot of stuff. And I'll tell you this, if you're a competitor, you're going to do that all the time, whether it's outside, inside, taking out the garbage, cleaning your room, going to school. You're going to find a way to push through, especially in the times you might not feel like it. That's a big separator. But fantastic advice from my two friends. Mike, did you have something else you want to say?
No, that's good. Okay. I love it. I'm just thinking right now where we are in this time of the year, and I'm thinking, well, what am I going to do with my athletes, and how much leeway am I going to give them when they say, "Hey, coach, I just need this one day off this week because lacrosse has started, and I have 6 a.m. lacrosse training, and I know I have 9:30 at night hockey training." And by the way, I'm a student. I got to fit school in here somehow. Oh, and by the way, I have a family and I have to eat and I have to study and I have to, I have other things in life. So I think this is just really one of those things where, you just map it out. It's a balancing act. If you're a multi-sport athlete, embrace that. Embrace the fact that, you do get to play overlapping seasons. And use it to your advantage, and schedule it out and make sure you communicate, with the other coach. If you have a top level baseball, if you're a top level athlete, you're playing really, really high level hockey and really high level baseball or lacrosse or whatever it is, cross country, communicate that to both coaches. If they don't respect the fact that you're training for both and you need to train for both and you want to be prepared for both, then again, maybe you picked the wrong coaches. But in this situation, communicate. Lay it out there. Don't burn yourself out, and don't try to do things that you're unable to do. Because ultimately, what you don't want to do in this context is injure yourself at the end of your hockey season and injure yourself where you can't play the beginning of your spring season. So just try to have that communication and figure it out, and look at the grand scheme calendar and just work on that with your parents, your coaches, you know, and yourself.
Right. But don't forget, your hockey commitment comes first, because you got to do that because you signed up for it. You got to see it to the end. So you got to let them know, especially the other coaches, I'm committed to hockey. I got to see it through. And after that, then I'm fine, you know, because you don't want to do too much either, because that's when the injuries come, is you're overusing, you're wearing yourself out. You're going to get hurt. So remember that too, you know, pace yourself.
Yeah. And I think in closing, we would all agree on this, that for all those of you that are listening, if you're feeling a little burnt out or you're feeling anything that doesn't feel right, you should be able to talk to your parents or your coach about it. You should be able to fully go up to them and communicate that. As Mike said, if they're not willing to hear that, maybe rethink where you're at. But you should always be able to talk to a grown-up or a parent or an adult who are also grown-ups about what you're feeling, right? And a good coach will have that discussion with you and help you make plans to move forward. All great stuff to think about on your ride to the rink. You see what I did there? It's the name of the show. All right. That's going to do it for this episode of The Ride to the Rink. For Christie, Casciano Burns, and Mike Benelli, I'm Lee Elias. Remember to check out hockey.sensearena.com for your $50 discount on NHL Sense Arena using the code Hockey Never Stops. That's very suiting for this group. And we will see you on the next edition of The Ride to the Rink. Skate on, everybody.